Hello, everybody. Come on in here.
Hey everyone.
Your name, ma'am,
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicolle McMillion.
and where are we at and what's going on here today?
Well, we're here. Thank you, AV News crew, for coming to our headquarters, campaign headquarters at Seoul Plaza. This is the McMillion for Mayor 2024 campaign office. And I'm excited to have met Matt and to be here today. Thanks for having me.
So, what's going on?
Well, we're at the tail end of a really fun race, aren't we? We're nearing election day, which is April 9th. And so for those that may not know me, I am on the ballot for as candidate for mayorship of Lancaster. And it's been an excellent campaign. We're in a really good place as a campaign, and we're excited to continue to meet with and answer any questions for our local voters.
And tell us a little bit about your campaign, what you want to put out there for people to give them the opportunity to see you to get them to vote for you.
Awesome. It would be an honor to do so. I've actually been championing what's called the NICE method, which is 4 pillars that I would love to get into for a little bit. But before I do that, I just kind of want to give a little background about who I am for those that may or may not know me. Again, my name is Dr. Nicolle McMillion Blackwood. I'm a woman of faith, definitely something that I'm not afraid to have discussion about. Love the Lord Jesus, mommy of 4 grown children that I raised in Lancaster. My kids are from their teens to their 20s, so grown children. I'm also a multiple business owner in Lancaster and Palmdale. In Lancaster, I own a marketing agency called Built to Build Studio, where we provide graphic design, branding, and marketing for new business owners to get the word out about their product or service. And in Palmdale, I'm so blessed to almost be a year in to new ownership with my co-owners, my co-partners, Dr. Brede Griffin and Danielle Heller. We teamed up when the old Butler's Coffee went on the market. We decided to grab that up because we realized it was definitely a community hub, and we didn't want to see it just kind of go into whoever. We wanted it to stay local and in our community as the community space that it is. And so it is now called Generations Coffee in Palmdale. Awesome space. I'll take a minute and just kind of elaborate there because it's a heart work for me what we do there. At Generations Coffee, we provide not only a coffee shop and a good organic bean for those coffee lovers out there, but it really is truly a community labor of love. What happens there is not just coffee sales. There's partnerships at the business level, but also on the community and ministry level. And what I mean by that is, on the business side, we collectively partner with vendors that are socially aware, or they offer community kickbacks. For example, one of our vendors is our bean vendor. Our coffee bean vendor is a Lancaster nonprofit by the name of Street Company. Street Company essentially hires the homeless, and how they do that is they have a work readiness training program that they will put the unhoused through. It's called a cohort, and it's about 8 to 12 weeks of training the homeless that are willing to be a part of the cohort, how to roast a bean, package it, market it, and sell it. And in doing that, they receive pay. And so it's a paid cohort and paid work after, which is just a beautiful program. We, the owners at Generations, decided that we wanted to partner with them specifically, not only because they offer organic beans and they're local, but because of that work that they do in our community. And so not a plug, but also very much a shameless plug, because if you haven't experienced coming to Generations, you should, because it's a big part of who I am in terms of finding ways to connect all the sectors in our city, from business to ministry to community. I feel like a great way to approach a lot of the problems we're facing as a people and as a region is by looking at opportunities to connect in that way. And so I oftentimes will reference the work we're doing at Generations as kind of a model, because it finds ways to answer several problems at once. And so, yeah. So that is part of kind of my business story as an entrepreneur. I've also been a ministry leader for 20 plus years in both the Santa Clarita Valley and Antelope Valley, and so people are important to me at a very deep level. I'm about service in multiple ways, and I think that we can do better as a city to love on our people. And I'll talk about that a little bit when we go over homelessness. But just one last point about me so that you can kind of get a feel for who I am as a person and not a politician. Very active as a community advocate in both Lancaster and Palmdale. It's always been important to me to not just make a dollar as a businesswoman, right? But to cycle it back into the community in any way that I can, and also help build up projects that are not yet ready or able to have the funding needed to hire someone like me, right? It's important to not just have paid work, but to be giving back in whatever capacity we can. So it's important to me as an advocate and as a connector to find ways to give back where I can. One of the ways that I'm doing that outside of my businesses is I currently serve as facilitator for Antelope Valley Partners for Health. They have a program right now called RRH. It stands for Regional Recovery Hub, and it's a program that AVPH started back when COVID hit in an effort to keep all of the local community-based organizations and entities kind of talking and connected so that we wouldn't lose connection with one another. And so now post-COVID, we're still finding that there are several organizations in the community that are still kind of working alone in silo. And so one of the pushes for Regional Recovery Hub is to make sure that we're still talking, that there's a level of connectivity between coalitions. For example, the monthly meeting that I facilitate is usually attended by 30 plus coalitions in every sector of our city. So we're having real conversations about our problems and issues that we all see and face, but on a multifaceted level. For instance, we'll have in attendance the Homeless Coalition, the Faith-Based Coalition, local chambers, local school district reps, everyone in one room kind of circling different problems that we're facing. And you'd be surprised how many solutions come out of a simple 1 hour discussion, because you're seeing it from every viewpoint, not just, maybe governmental. And so on that note, that's who I am as Nicolle McMillion, a family woman, love the Lord, love business, love collaborating and connecting with people. So that's me. But the campaign push that I was referencing earlier, the NICE method is an acronym, really. NICE, NICE, stands for my 4 main points of vision for the city of Lancaster. So N stands for no homelessness, I stands for innovation, C stands for connectivity, and E stands for equity. And so I'll take a moment just to kind of cover each pillar so that you can kind of hear my heart and the vision for it. But that's the NICE method in a nutshell. So what you'll find as I tell you more about the NICE method is that I really try to approach all of the issues that we're facing as Lancaster residents. And side note, I am a Lancaster resident of 17 years. I live and reside in East Lancaster. So when I'm speaking from a residential standpoint, if that makes sense. You'll hear less partisanal views from me and more people over politics. One, because of the nature of who I am, I just, kind of let you know that I'm more so in business and community than politics, but also because I think it's time to be a little less political and a little more community oriented with a bigger ear toward our people and actually a bigger eye as well. We need to visibly see what's happening in our city at a real level. Our city's in need of some hope and some real strategy and some real vision with regard to how to move forward. And so please hear my heart with regard to that as I go through the pillars. No homelessness is, I know that all of our candidates have touched on it in some point, in some respect, but I would say that that's one of my main missional goals. Should I become mayor of the city of Lancaster, that's my first push, is to find a way to build comprehensive infrastructure to the problem that we're all facing. Currently, the city of Lancaster has approximately 5,000 unhoused that we can make count of, and that is, it's not okay. When I moved here in 2007, we had approximately 1,000 unhoused. So it's been on a constant uptick, even with current administration efforts. And so while I've seen so much great work come out of current administration, I do believe, and I believe you would agree, that there's more that needs to be done, not ought to be done, but needs to be done, or we're going to see an even more huge problem on our hands. What happened in our city, I can't speak for all cities, but what happened here, even just during the pandemic, was almost a doubling of the homeless situation. And that was primarily because right as COVID was ending and renter covering and provisions were ending, we saw a huge uptick in our unhoused population. And so we have some of our encampments that include people that have been homeless for years, while we're seeing new homeless hit the scene too. And my concern is that if this problem is not immediately looked at and an immediate strategy put in place, that it's only going to get worse, because some people never really bounced back post-pandemic, financially, mentally, emotionally. And so not only is housing needed, but real strategy on how to wrap around a person. And I'll pause here because I've heard some of my fellow candidates address homelessness as if it's a problem that's not ours. And that really hurts my heart as a leader, because I feel like we can go, like right now I have a sofa on the curb at my house that I'm waiting on waste management to pick up. You know, I ordered a bulk pickup, right? They still haven't come, but it's there. That's a pickup. That's a waste management issue. I've put it in their hands. I've said, hey, as a paying customer, come grab my sofa, right? We can't look at people like that. People aren't something you can kind of schedule to get out of your city, right? Like, just like this guy, he's too close to my house. You know, he's making me nervous. I need to order a pickup and he needs to be delivered out of my city. That's not how we should, in my opinion, deal with people. People are not trash to be picked up and relocated. I feel like, as someone who's actually experienced homeless twice, I feel like we need to look at the situation for what it is. It's a body of people that are in need of a solution. And we can go back and forth in a debate between candidates, between residents, about whether or not it's it's the homeless person's issue or my issue as a taxpayer. But I think the heart of the matter is the differentiation between what is humane and inhumane, right? So we can get into the logistics later. We can get into the whose problem is it really later. But I feel like it's inhumane to watch someone become sicker and possibly even die on the street when we can do something about it. And so my plan is to create both short and long-term solutions that are easy for someone who's homeless, unhoused, or transient, who wants to be off the street, to easily plug into and get the help needed. And one of the immediate needs is temporary housing, but we all know that the end goal is permanency. permanent housing. But then there's that in-between gap that I know a lot of people don't really want to deal with because it's a lot. It's mentally taxing, it's emotionally taxing, and then it's also financially taxing on a city to deal with the problem, but it must be dealt with. So there's that immediate need, the temporary housing. It's raining outside and I need to get my butt off the street. And then there's the end goal, which is permanent housing. But then there's that big gap in between, that's what I want to tackle. The in-between, that's inclusive of wraparound services from mental health to, from something as intricate as mental health to something as simple as a toothbrush and a blanket, right? Like, our people need all of it. And I'm going to keep saying our people because I'm sick of hearing our people talked about as if they're trash that can be relocated. People are not trash. People are not to be thrown away, but to be cared for, especially in a season where there might be addiction. You might have just recently been evicted, so there's that trauma of a family potentially being separated. We even have children and young adults that are unhoused that we don't talk about. And now seniors that are being pushed out of the market because they can't afford rent. And so we have a wide array of generations that need our help. And I'm willing and able to help strategize this problem. It's a multifaceted problem. And it's not as easy as we're pushing you back to LA. So yes, there might have been some homeless that chose to use their one-way ticket to come here and they just never left. But that's neither here nor there at this point. We have 5,000 plus people that need help. And so my immediate goal is to make a clear pathway for someone who wants to get off the street to go from temporary housing all the way through to permanent housing within 1.5 to 2 years. I will come back to that plan in a second, but I want to continue on to the second pillar, which is innovation. The continuation of current innovative projects that have been started by Mayor Rex and team and administration. There are some things that I find very intriguing, and I believe that they're great projects that can be scaled upon for the economic growth of our city. Projects like our achievement to become a net zero city. I think that's huge. I don't think we talk about it enough. Our city is positioned to be world renowned, at least in our nation, as the first green city. Our solar and hydrogen positioning is big, and I think it's bigger than we've given it credit to be. It can provide not only jobs for thousands of people, but it's really safer to continue to push toward a green city. And so innovative projects like that are exciting to me as a creative, as an entrepreneur. And I'm looking to really delve in the data and see what we've done thus far and see how I can scale it. What makes sense, of course. I wouldn't pretend to know all of the intricacies of those initiatives. But once in office, I would love to really dig deep and see what we've done thus far and how we can continue to utilize those projects to push us in way of innovation. I also want to look at new innovative projects surrounding what we already have in our city and how we can continue to connect as a body of people to make our city better. Which brings me to my third pillar, connectivity. From what I shared with you earlier, I tend to approach a project with the idea and the understanding and the knowing that I don't have every answer. I'm one person and there's 170,000 of us here. I can't pretend to know the answer to everything or have the solution to every single problem we're facing. But one thing I want you to know as a viewer on the AV News Crew page is that you can count on me to be honest and transparent, and you can count on me to look for, on purpose, intentionally, look for areas where I can partner and areas where I can connect with local experts. For example, we're going to get into some crime questions in just a sec, but a lot of people have asked me about, our current uptick in crime. What would be some of my solutions toward that? One of the main and first solutions for someone like me who's not on the streets at 2 a.m. like some of our local law enforcement would be to reach out to the experts in that field. What are you seeing? What's working? What's not? And forming strong relationships there. I think that it's important for you to know, as you're making your educated decisions on who to vote for, that you would have in me a leader who is willing to say, that's not, my day-to-day niche. So I would leave that to the experts and collaborate where I can to ensure our safety and our continued public safety. For example, our new hybrid policing program. That's something that I've heard all kinds of different viewpoints from different residents. Some are really excited about this new collaboration, and some are frankly scared because they found out after it was already established. And so something to know about me is that I would like to promote connectivity in a very transparent way so that our residents are abreast as programs like this are coming to fruition, and not just kind of finding out about it after the fact. Now, a lot of that is a lot of programs like this one are initially introduced in city council meetings and such, and I know a lot of our general public doesn't attend them, and so sometimes, you find out a little late. Something that I'd love to push as mayor in way of connectivity is making sure that we're doing our due diligence to get the word out, not just in our Outlook magazine and not just in an occasional email, but very diligent about keeping everyone informed. Communication is key. I think it helps to eradicate fear, distrust. It keeps us honest as leaders, as public servants. And so that's something that I would look to improve upon, our methods of communication as we connect. I think a big part of the problems we're seeing is just the distrust. A lot of people have become complacent and don't even want to register to vote because they feel like, why? Right? Like, what good is it going to do? And so I feel like if people can come to an understanding that they will be communicated with on a regular basis, that we can start to rebuild some of those relationships and start to earn a level of trust, which is something that I wish to do. I don't want to come in here as some political expert, rather as a fellow resident of Lancaster who just wants to see change just like you. And I just bring a certain level of skill set and desire to innovate and create infrastructure in areas that we don't have yet, or could maybe use improvement on. So connectivity is key. I'll share this just to give some more insight. In the space of connectivity, it's something I've noticed over the years in the city of Lancaster is that there's three main sectors: commerce, community, and church. If I had to simplify it, that's how I see it when I'm in a community meeting. I see strengths in community, commerce, and church. And usually when there's a super huge problem on the table at these meetings that I help facilitate or attend, they can usually be solved instantaneously or very, very quickly when there's a community organizer, a business owner, and a faith-based leader at a table surrounding a problem. It's usually solved quite easily. The reason I found that to be true is because you're looking at a problem from different viewpoints. It can't always just be viewed from a governmental perspective. I love government because I feel like there has to be, right, structure, strategy, and order for us to be able to move forward as a city. But there also has to be connectivity so that you can see things from multiple purviews. And so I love community connectivity for that reason. There are people in our community in both for-profit and nonprofit sectors that touch these problems daily, right? So if I have a heart to see the homeless population eradicated in my city, I'd be dumb to not partner with existing community-based organizations that do that every day. And so I want us as a community to come together, No more silos. Connectivity is key. And if we don't do it, we won't see the forward movement that we need so desperately. Equity is the last pillar. Equity to me is more important than equality, not just because I'm a biracial woman of Mexican heritage and Black, but it's important because if $1 billion hits our region, we need to know that it's going to be equitably distributed and not just utilized for, an innovative project or a beautification project, but rather our budget looked at thoroughly, assessed alongside the raw data of today, and then decisions being made from that standpoint. I want to be a big part of how our resources are distributed because, as an East Lancaster resident, I know it's been said over and over by several candidates that our crime has continued to go down during current administration. That might look great on paper and sound great on video, but as a resident of East Lancaster, I can tell you that that is not the truth. Crime has been on a continual uptick in that area for, I would say, the last 5 years. It's not safe. It can be safer. And I really want to look at resources for that area immediately. You can tell when resources that have been appropriated for a city have not maybe been distributed equitably because of the nature of what's happening in a particular neighborhood or community. You can tell. Even if you're not well versed in reading data, or if you're not well versed in governmental proceedings, you can tell when you enter a community or neighborhood if it's being cared for well and if the people are being taken care of well. And I can tell you that East Lancaster is suffering. That's not okay. And so I would like to look at equitable opportunities. For instance, let's kind of touch back now that I've covered all 4 pillars. Let's kind of touch back on the homeless problem. In 2023, the city of Lancaster received $30 million through Home Key 3.0. Home Key 3.0 is an LA County grant. There were only 3 awardees of Home Key 3.0: Carson City, Palmdale City, and Lancaster City. We received 30 million out of that 90 million for our city. And you have already seen some of the work begin. You've seen some of the work begin on Sierra Highway through the developers Hope the Mission. They've already begun utilizing some of those funds to renovate some of the motels on Sierra Highway. One of them just broke ground. Well, not broke ground, they broke ground some time ago, but one of them just had a ribbon cutting earlier this month. And that particular facility houses, to my knowledge, 100 residents. And so I'm loving the momentum behind being a recipient of a grant like that. I love being able to tangibly see something being done equitably in that side of town for our homeless. But I think it's just a scratch on the surface of a huge, huge problem. 30 million could have maybe been more equitably distributed amongst local developers, local carpenters, electricians. You never know because to my knowledge it wasn't put on the table in that way. To my knowledge that particular block of funds was awarded to one developer when going forward I would love to look at large amounts of money like that and see how far we can stretch it amongst a couple of needs in our city, not just one, right? So yes, the homeless problem is huge. I'm glad that we got something started. I know you are. But going forward, I think we can do better as a city at looking at things like local jobs that are needed, keeping people from becoming homeless. Most of our families are still struggling post-COVID and could have maybe used side contract work to offset some of the bills. And so I want to look at each problem as mayor from all areas. It's hard, it's not easy, and this is not me diminishing the work of any one leader as much as saying we can do more. We can definitely do more. Crime is something that is not just in East Lancaster. I would say it's citywide. A lot of that is not something that I would blame our mayor for or current administration for, as much as it just is what it is, and we need to collectively come together and fix it. Smash and grabs are on the rise. I know that a lot of those. I've been hearing that a lot of our smash and grabs and retail theft is attributed to our current DA. That might be a part of the problem, but I know there's other areas that need to be addressed. Something that I've seen and love is the task force that was put in place by the city of Los Angeles last year. They've been seeing, when they assembled a task force of investigators to investigate current retail theft alongside kind of community, I forget what they called it, but they were basically community ambassadors that were standing watch at some of the business strips that were being hit the most. They saw 5% within 6 months, 5% of crime decrease, just because of that added presence. There are also business partnerships that are happening between tech companies and business owners in the city of LA, and they've been seeing that work. For example, a Spectrum might partner with a Pete's Coffee, right? As an example. They might partner and say, well, we can offer cameras for your business in an effort to protect your business visibly, right? And in exchange, you can provide coffee as a vendor. I've been seeing more and more connective projects like that forming, and I believe that when we continue to provide affordable, attainable ways for businesses to become safer, that we'll start to see a decrease in crime. It's not just our police force that we need to look at, but it's also what can we do as a community to wrap around our local businesses and our local families. What do we have in our hands already that we can do to help address crime? I am looking to continue to build up our community hybrid police force. I know someone asked me that on one of my pages, and I just kind of wanted to briefly address that. I'm not too well versed, as I'm sure you're not, because it's a newer program that our city rolled out. But from what I know, Chief Armelin is doing an excellent job, and I would love to partner with him if given the opportunity to see what we can do to continue the work that's been started. Our local sheriffs are amazing. The deputies that I know work hard and they love our city, and I would love to do whatever I can to undergird their work, but also utilize the hybrid police force that we have, and see how far we can go in terms of a collaborative work to protect our citizens. Our residents are scared and they're looking for real answers, and I am too. I want to remind you again that I'm a resident with kids and a husband and family and friends that live here. And I'm concerned as well. And no, I don't have all the answers on this one video, but I'm committed to strategizing, forming strong partnerships, and finding the answers. What you won't get from me is a throwaway attitude, right? Well, this problem's too big, so let's just get rid of it. If it's here and it's at our doorstep, it's my problem. It's your problem. It's our problem. So within the strengths that we collectively have, there's an answer, there's a solution, and I'm here to bring hope there. I'm here to tell you that it will get better, and it's just going to take strategic partnership, and I think that that's what's lacking right now. A lot of times, leadership can find itself in a rut, and this is just my opinion. Leadership can find itself in a rut when you shut out the voices of people and you just go off of what you know and what you desire as an individual. And I want to commit to you that that is not my persona. I don't really have, quote unquote, an agenda, a political agenda. I'm a concerned resident with strong vision and solutions, and I would love an opportunity to be your mayor. I would love the opportunity to earn your vote. If you have any questions, I was told by AV News crew that if you send them in, that they will form a list for me to answer, and I would love the opportunity to answer those for you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for considering voting for me. I am on ballot as Nicolle McMillion. You could also find out more about the pillars I discussed at my website at www.lancaster.vote. And I want to encourage you that if you're one of those residents who did not receive their mail-in ballot because you're not registered yet, maybe you thought, why? I don't really see anyone bringing a level of encouragement. I don't really see the need to vote. I don't really see change coming. And you're just kind of in this rut of, why should I care? I want to encourage you that your vote is your voice. Please take the next 2 days. I think there's only 2 days left where you can legally register to vote for this election. You can go on my website to register if you'd like. My website again is lancaster.vote. You scroll down to mid-page, there's a button that says register. You click it and it walks you through the steps. A mail-in ballot will be sent to you, and you check your candidate and you mail it back in. The reason this is important to me, voter education is important, is because during this campaign I've had I've had more time to talk to people face to face, and some of the concerns I'm hearing is that, is it even gonna matter? Is my vote even gonna count? Does it even matter? I just want to encourage you that it does, and I would encourage you to register so that you can get your ballot. Another reason you need your ballot, as I close, is because, just in case you weren't aware, this year's election is not in person. You will not get the opportunity on April 9th to physically go vote somewhere. For whatever reasons, it's mail-in only. And so the only way you can utilize your voice in this election is to do mail-in ballot voting. And so please register if you haven't. And if you do have your ballot and it's been sitting on your kitchen table, please find my name on there, and I would appreciate your vote. And I look forward, you, Lancaster resident, it would be an honor to serve you. Thank you for considering me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
And everybody, as we always say, God bless, have a blessed day.
Absolutely.